Welcome to Coach Hayes Football Live. He can talk about anything from high school to the pros. This guy knows the game, so you better not be half-stepping.
I can guarantee you most of the audience is going to agree with me before they agree with you.
Strap in, because Coach Hayes is about to
crack your cranium and fertilize your brain. Go ahead and right here, right now.
Subscribe now and check out CoachHayesFootball.com.
My bad. I had myself muted. Sorry, guys. Let me make sure you can hear. Can you hear everything now? Hey, Chanella? Big shout out to you guys. She said, no, can't hear anything. Why can't we hear anything? All right, so we rolling again. They told me I was muted. Everybody said we good. All right, I'm sorry, man. I jacked it up. Anyway, back to what I was saying. We were here at Coach Hayes Football Live on Thursdays. You know, we just talk about topics in and around football, just different things, maybe hot topics or whatever the case may be. And the hottest thing on the market going right now is Tim Tebow's return to the NFL with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I got some guys on here I think you're going to know already, but I got some guys that have maybe some strong viewpoints about it. We're going to talk about everything, as well as we may open up the phone lines for a quick second as well. And we'll see what the deal is, and we'll go from there. So let me go ahead and make sure we check this thing out real quick before we get started. As you guys can hear me now, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so you are aware of all the things that come out. Let me give a couple of shout-outs to a couple of people here in the building before we get started. Flo-grown Gator said, I guess Florida-grown Gator, I'm going to let him laugh out loud. I'm just saying everyone else bashing him. I just hope Coach Hayes don't. I like them both, even though Coach is a Miami fan. Well, it don't really have nothing to do with the college aspect of it. Big shout out to the first lady through the smoke. Hey, Chanella says, good evening, family. What's going on with you? And let me see. Christopher Knight says, we good, man. I appreciate it. And Henry Majors says, hello, yes, sir, and 40 speed. That'd be huge, too. I guess you're talking about in regards to Tim Tebow speed. Let me go ahead and get these guys on here and get this thing rocking and rolling so we can get this thing started. Big shout out to my guest in the building. Let me take these guys off mute because I was jacked it up last time. All right, so big shout out to my man right here at the top of the screen, Actor Man E. What's been up with you, baby?
Oh, not much, man. It's been a while since I've been on, so good to be back with you. But it's all good. How you feeling since that 10K? You back to normal?
Hey, big shout out to you, man. Hey, I feel good, man. My legs were like spaghetti noodles for about 2 days, but I'm good to go, man. But real quick, man, I know you got something big. Oh, and big shout out to you, man. You and your wife, they participated. My man was the cameraman on the bike with one wheel. So you know, he kind of wrecked out a little bit, but it is what it is. I let him tell you that. Ain't no shame in the game. But what you got going on, man, right now since you've kind of been off, man? What's big on your horizon?
Well, since we last came on, man, one of the films that I worked on actually before COVID has made its debut. It's on all your on-demand platforms like Amazon and Vudu and Tubi and all that stuff. Anywhere where you can watch a movie on demand. It's called Painkiller. And it came out May 4th. You can check it out, like I said, on Amazon Prime, all your normal outlets. You can also purchase it on DVD at all your Walmarts and Targets and things like that. It's about a man who loses his daughter to the opioid crisis and takes matters into his own hands. So it's action-packed, it's drama-filled, and I kind of set things off. I ain't going to spoil it, but I got a little role in there that might leave you a little shocked.
I heard that. Well, I'm going to definitely check it out tonight, man, definitely. Yeah. At the bottom down here, we got my man, J-Dub. You see here, a Denver Bronco fan. He had to represent for them Bronco boys out there, man. Jay, what's up with you, baby?
Hey, what's going on, Coach, man? Hey, thanks for having me on. Good work there, E. Hey, congrats, Coach, on your 10K run, man. I did see that video. Was very impressed, and I'm very proud of you, man. Listen, I'm waiting for that 20K. run when you hit 20,000 subscribers, man. I'm here for it.
I told you I can't do 20K run, but I said in the video I do 20,000 chicken wings, baby. I can't do that, man. That's too much. But go for it, man. So what you been up to lately, man?
Nothing, man. Just hanging out, man. Watching my Broncos, man, and the excellent draft that we had, man. The A-, A+, B+ draft. I mean, I'm happy in the direction we're going. We are celebrating Elway firing himself and giving us a real GM, and we're looking to make some noise this year, baby.
I heard that. So, and also, guys, later on, we should have V12 should pop on here in a second. He had to take care of some things, but he'll definitely pop on, man. And you know that dude, when he come on, he's gonna be all the way live. I can tell you that right now. That boy got a straight charge in his back. So let's get this thing rolling, man. I'm gonna ask you guys, what was your first? I'll start with you, E. What was your first reaction, right? And you know I like to do my one word. What was your one word first reaction when the news broke across your screen or phone or whatever? Tim Tebow may be getting signed to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, just so I don't get you held up here, I'll spell it DAFUQ. I guess is how you spell it.
DAFUQ. Okay. See, I had to spell it out. I got you.
Last I heard, Tebow was swinging at baseballs. You know what I'm saying? So I was totally caught off guard by it. You know what I mean? I just was like, what? So, you know, and then once I kind of digested, and this is probably, I know you asked for one word, but yeah, I was taken aback, but I guess it is what it is, man. I know we're going to get into it. So I'll say my analysis for later.
All right. And real quick, in the comment section for everybody, we got 22 in the chat right now. I know you guys will blow it up, but put in the comment section your one word reaction to it too, man. I love to post it up there because I like to see some people. We'll keep it PG because we do got a couple of underage that watch this as well. So, but you know, you can put some stars and the little money sign in there for the S and all that. I get it. All right. J Dub, talk to me. What was your one word reaction to it? And then you can elaborate a little bit after the one word.
I guess I'll go ahead and spell mine too. YAWN.
YAWN. I don't know what it means, man. Talk to me.
It didn't register.
YAWN. Okay.
It really did not move the blip for me that much. I didn't go grab my pitchfork. It was just like he's coming back. He probably not even gonna make the team, but if he does, it might be a little media circus in Jacksonville for a little bit, but it didn't move me as much as it seemed like a lot of the football community.
I got you, man. Well, I'm going to say mine. I got a couple of them here right quick. Hey, Chanel, she says, how? My man Christopher says ticket sales. Henry Major says old. You know what I'm saying? Well, I guess my man Darren says reunited.
Reunited, and it feels so good.
I heard that, man. Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna give you guys mine. I said, because guess what? Who knows? You'd be surprised. That doggone Urban Meyer, you can have your opinions about him, but he finds out. He finds ways to win. I can put it to you like that. Greg Smoot says, good point, media circus. All right. Peanut Butter Hero says privilege. All right. And Ulysses Carr says publicity stunt. All right, cool. Real quick, Ulysses Carr, I'm sorry. You said you wanted me to react to somebody. Do me a favor. Go on to CoachHayesFootball.com. Go into the fans page. You'll see where you can nominate a player. Put that person down. Put all the information in there. And if I get a chance to get to it, I definitely will. All right. And Dan LaFleur, what's going on, man? This is one of the co-hosts on the show I work on. Is VSN, which is Varsity Sports Network guy. You can check it out. Drop a video on Wednesday. He's one of the producers and co-hosts. He says Taysom Hill. All right. I like that, Dan. All right, so here we go. Let's talk about this a little bit, man. So me and E up there and his father have actually had this conversation over a game of pool or billiards, if you want to be correct about it. And I think I was the odd man out in the room when I said these things. And I'm just going to kind of give you my opinion a little bit. And I tell you guys, I look at things from a coach's perspective. That's just what I do. I guess that's because that's what I am. I like to. Now I'm going back. I'm not talking about today. I'm talking about when everything was going on, him getting drafted and so forth. I like Tim Tebow. You understand what I'm saying? I thought he was good for the game. People can talk about him not throwing the ball and this, that, and the other. I can name 35 people on 32 teams right now that can't do that. You understand what I'm saying? And they got long careers. I think that at that time, I'm just being honest, and we're going to break these topics down, but I think at that time, regardless of his play on the field, he still found ways to win some games. We're going to talk about that playoff deal against the Steelers and so forth for your beloved Broncos down there, Jay. But also, I believe he became somewhat of a distraction from his religious beliefs, and that is something that was a kind of taboo to the NFL. And we know what distractions create. Distractions create absence, and we'll go through that here in a second. But I just wanted to just kind of do that. Greg Smoot said, "How in the heck they going to use him?" We'll talk about break all that down. But let me get into this, man. What were your thoughts on Tim Tebow? Let's go back just a tad bit in the college. What do you think, when it came to his college career as a player?
I think as a player, obviously he was very effective, but I think what made him into, and when I shared your post today, I used the word Tebow mania. What made him so popular and so, such a lightning rod was, his outspokenness, not only about his beliefs, but how he rallied his team, how he led his team. And it really, I think, lended itself to, certain demographics, especially in the South, in the Bible Belt and things like that. So he took off, and I think he started to get some resentment based on the fact that a lot of people looked at his talent and abilities, and they didn't see that matching the mania and the popularity that he has. But obviously, he was very, very effective as a college player. His strength, his size, and the weapons that he had around him made him look pretty good. Made him look a lot better than I think what turned out and what really wound up translating to the next level. So I think everybody knew he was going to be an NFL prospect, but he had a huge question mark on him because it's much different to lead a team that's pretty much loaded. I mean, I know they had at least 4 or 5 guys that made the NFL from that team. So it was a big question mark on what was going to translate to the next level. But he had such momentum behind it, and he was such a rock star coming out of college that a lot of people were anticipating and kind of and a lot of people were hoping that he failed as well. So it was very interesting.
J-Dub, talk to us, man. What were your thoughts on him in his career at Florida?
So I completely agree with Essex, but I think Essex is kind of underselling Tebow a little bit when he said Tebow was effective. No, bro. Tebow is probably one of the top 10 greatest college football players that we've seen in this game. I mean, I listen, I'm one of the number one Gator haters. I do not like the Florida Gators, but I give props to players that deserve their due. And man, Tim Tebow took the collegiate world by storm. He is one of the top 10 greatest college players. I mean, some people may say top 15, top 20. He's up there. I mean, this dude accounted for much of the offensive scoring for that school. I can't remember what year it was. He put up like over 40 touchdowns between throwing and rushing. So I also did have some major concerns about his NFL prospects, but we won't, I'll wait for you to lead us there, Coach. But as far as his college game, Tim Tebow was a great college football player.
No, definitely, and I agree with that 100%. I mean, when I looked at him playing, right, and they lost that game, was it to Ole Miss, if I'm not mistaken? He came back with that, that great speech, which they actually have it up at the university now under his. I think he has a statue there, if I'm not mistaken. Here's my thing, right? There are great players. We can always kind of put the question mark or an asterisk next to this or that. But there's also a part of this game when it comes to leadership. And I think that has always been my point about Tim Tebow, is his leadership capabilities. For him to make the statement he did, turn that thing around and go and win the Natty, right? Did it twice. I mean, think about it. This is a quote-unquote quarterback that can't play, but they go win the Natty. He wins the Heisman, right? You still got to be able to throw the ball, and they're still playing in one of the toughest conferences. It wasn't like they were playing in the Mountain West, or maybe he just blew it up in the Big Ten, which is not a slouch conference at all. But I'm saying, you playing. Think about the SEC schedules. They week in, week out, they are playing playoff games in essence. Really, you know what I mean? You playing the Alabama, the Georgia, the Tennessee. You playing them day in and day out, week in and week out. And you did that. And I'm going to go through this for a little bit. So he has 2 natties. You talk about the greatest player for the SEC. And the SEC is a big-time conference now. Everybody talk about SEC. He's the all-time passing efficiency for SEC. And that's equivalent to the QB rating. He's the all-time completion percentage for the SEC at 67%. The all-time touchdown to interception ratio, 88 touchdowns to 15 interceptions. He's the all-time rushing quarterback for yards. And he's the all-time touchdown scored by any position with 57. I'm just saying.
Top 10.
So yeah.
Top 10. He was top 10 college football player, man, that I've seen.
I agree. I know I'm talking college. Go ahead.
But let me ask you this: wasn't a certain amount of that was attributed to the weapons that he had around him? Correct. Kind of a similar situation. I'm sure if we looked up the Hurricane stats, Ken Dorsey might be up there, but we get because of the athletes that was around him and the system. More so than, he wasn't exactly like flinging that thing like Aaron Rodgers, correct? I mean, refresh my memory.
No, you're 100% correct. But I'm always say this about team sports. Everybody contributes to the W. Sure. Everybody, right? Let's go back and let's just say this now. And I'm going to say this, and I know this is not a popular opinion, and I want to push this forward because we're already 20 minutes in, and we said we're going to do about an hour 15. Bro, let me see. I got 26 in the chat. I'm going to see if my numbers go down real quick. I said the same thing about Tom Brady. Not ability. I'm talking about leadership qualities, right? I'm talking about him being a leader. He gets the best out of his guys. That's all I'm trying to say. And I think that is something Tim Tebow possessed. He got the best out of his guys, right? He got the best out of Aaron Hernandez out here gunning folks on a Sunday night, coming back to practice on a Monday. He got the best out of Percy Harvin, that's was high as a kite, as he self-admitted. You know what I'm saying? Week in and week out. I'm just talking about if you really think about the program itself. Let's look at the program. We can take the individual attributes for the players, but I think he was the glue. He was the nucleus that kept all that together, because that team could have easily went boom. You understand what I'm saying? But I think he was the guy. I used to hear stories about how people used to try Tebow, and those guys would step in front and be like, nah, because they understood his value. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And I ain't saying he choir boy and nothing like that, but I'm just saying that was the kind of leadership, and I think he possessed the same leadership as a Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? And so that's all I'm just saying. So I just want to say that. Let's get into this. So he gets to the NFL, and J-Dub, you always more than welcome, but I definitely wanted you to have you on here for this. I definitely want to have you on here because you're a Bronco fan. What was your thoughts when the Broncos picked him? I think he had the 25th pick.
All right. So the first thing I said to, my different Bronco, groups and fans, groups that I'm in, I was concerned about him playing quarterback. So even though he was a great college football player, I had a lot of concerns with him, with that game translating into the NFL. He had a lot of bad mechanics as a pure passer. His passing mechanics were terrible. And my comment to my fellow Bronco fans were, I don't think there's a quarterback coach in the National Football League that can fix years of bad mechanics. And, there's not a quarterback coach in the NFL that can teach this man how to throw a 15-yard out. He just could not complete certain passes. I remember one of those games against, I want to say it was the SEC championship game against Alabama. I knew Bama was going to win that game because Tebow just could not complete the passes that he needed to complete. And these are passes they needed to complete in the NFL level. So I want to say Tim Tebow was a Josh McDaniels pick, if I'm not mistaken. But I was concerned. Sure. I told my Bronco fans, look, no QB coach can fix his terrible throwing mechanics. So I don't know if this man's going to see the field. I don't know if he's going to play. I don't think he's going to be successful as a quarterback. And years later, it turns out I was right.
Okay, well, so then let me say this to you then. So here's where I look at it. And I understand we could talk about mechanics, we can get into all that stuff, but there are some people in this world, right? We can go back to Randall Cunningham with the sidearming and all these type of things. Different people make it happen. You know what I mean? What I look at it from a coach's perspective, if a guy can go and do these things, then let's find out what he does well and do that. That's how I always believed in coaching, right? If a guy, that's like saying, I'm just going because I know EU love basketball. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? Think about this. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he had the sky hook, right? We know that. But the coach go out there and take him and tell him, yeah, you need to learn how to shoot the 20-foot jumper, or you got to shoot the threes, right? I'm just saying you're going against the grain of what a person does well. Yeah. And so that's all I was saying. And so that's just how I looked at it. Let's get into this because my man V12 is in the building. Like I said, hopefully, man, I got the internet thing fixed up. Let's make this thing happen. Let's see if V12 pop on here, because if he doesn't, I'm gonna be hot.
There you go.
Okay, looks like I'm stuck. But hope V12 come on. I don't know if he's on or not, man.
I'm here.
I don't know what's going on with this internet. It's killing me. I hate it. So real quick, if you can hear me eat while I pop out and pop back in, ask him what was his one word reaction.
Hey, yeah, Coach, want to know what your one word reaction was when you heard the Tebow news?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah. I was at a loss for words like I am now. You know, it's and you guys probably discussed some of this already, but it was definitely hard for me to on any level fathom why he was signed. And let me say this: fathom why he was signed for the position of tight end. Put it that way. If they were going to say to me, "Hey, we're going to sign Tebow to be a backup quarterback for Trevor Lawrence, to mentor him, to bring him along slowly," I can accept that more. Even then, he's been out of the league, and you guys probably mentioned it, at least 6 years, and we know the league will go by you very, very quickly. So, again, Coach, like I told Essex, my one word was, what was it?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable for me.
No, that's real. So let's go, because you kind of jumped into where I wanted to go into this thing. So now he's there. Hey, Chanella, you be kidding me, man. Cope, I hope your internet ain't working like it was on the YouTube. Man, I don't know what it is. I'll call them people, but we'll get into that. Hey, Chanella, keep your fingers crossed for your boy. I don't know why. Every time I bring somebody on to the chat, or I go in and come out, it jacks up, but I don't know why that is. But anyhow, let me get into this piece. So now let's push into he played in the league. We know that he came in and he played for Denver, went to the beat the Steelers in the playoff game and all of that stuff. Maybe wasn't the greatest, but the dude did find a way to win. I remember being at the Miami Dolphin game. I was at the Miami Dolphin game when this dude completed 2 passes and beat the Miami Dolphins, or 3 passes. Completed 3 passes in the NFL and beat the Miami Dolphins with 3 completions. All I'm trying to say is, what my concern is, that goes to show you there's something in regards to a winner and a leader. And I think we had this whole conversation. My dog, like, he fell down the stairs. I'm gonna hit him with the mute right quick while he's getting set up. But anyway, there's something in that. That's what I'm trying to say. If you can fine tune and you can hone in to what it is to excel that, imagine what you can get. I was just saying, bro, you complete 3 passes in an NFL game and beat the Miami Dolphins. I was pissed off.
Kyle, that Dolphin game is where it all started that season. It was that Dolphin game, and then he took us. I want to say he went 6-7-4 the rest of that year, and won us a playoff game. Bad mechanics and all. For whatever reason, the fourth quarter he was able to be accurate. He was able to complete some passes, and I don't know. I mean, it's that intangible that you mentioned. It's hard to judge, but he just had that leadership intangible that you can't really put a grade on. But this man was willing, he was able to will us to some wins, even though he wasn't really a great quarterback.
But was it that his intangibles was that great, or the Dolphins played that bad? Because, like, let's be honest, you can't do that. You especially can't do that in today's NFL. But even at that time, it was sort of like a phase. You know what I mean? It was like a momentary thing. But then when the league caught up and began to expose his weaknesses, he just couldn't overcome it. So, like, you guys can't you can't just. And I remember that conversation too, Kyle, when we was playing pool. It's like at a certain point, you just can't overcome those weaknesses that he had. Even though you love the leadership and you love the other things that go along with it, this the most competitive league in the world. Like, people are going to expose you, and especially if you don't have. And to your point, Coach, what you have to do with Tebow is you have to gear the entire team so much to protecting his weaknesses that can only be sustained for a very small period of time.
I got you. And like I said, we're not gonna blame it because I want to get into this piece here. And V12, you back on good? I got you. All right, but I was just trying to say that I'm not saying this guy was supposed to have a 20-year career in the NFL. I thought maybe the plug was pulled on him mighty quickly, and I'm gonna get into this piece about why I think the plug was pulled. And the reason I say that, I don't think it was his gameplay, because there are guys in the league who are way worse. And they got 10, 15-year careers in the NFL. Would you agree with that? Yes or no, V12?
Listen. and you guys know this. I've liked Tim Tebow since he was at Florida. When he was with Chris Leak, I'll go way back then. I'm not going to say one of the best speeches next to what Joaquin said from Ed Reed was Tim Tebow, bloody nose, saying what he said. That was one of the best. I mean, next to Ed Reed, he was up there. He's a winner, and he's willed himself to a lot of wins. However, we know that he was a beyond average quarterback, NFL quarterback, and he was a great college player. So going into the league, we all knew what it was. Yes, the NFL will expose you. You can get some lucky wins in the NFL. You can get some wins if you have a Denver defense who's playing pretty well, and you got Demaryius Thomas on the side. You can win some games. But let me tell you, I'm gonna give you guys a fun fact. Are y'all ready for it? Out of the 3 years that Tebow played, going into the season, he was never considered the starting quarterback. He couldn't beat out Kyle Orton in Denver. He had to come in to the season, and he couldn't beat out Matt Barkley in Philadelphia, and it was somebody else he couldn't beat out. So he was never ever a quote unquote starting quarterback going into a season. So I didn't expect for him to be in the league very long as well. To your question, I think there are other forces. I think we kind of spoke about it before. He could have maybe like a 5-year career, but I don't see him doing 10-50 because the talent from an NFL perspective is not there. Right.
I'm gonna just say that I want to push this on because here's what I was saying, and I'm gonna just tell you where I think he got his knees cut from up under him. I believe when it came to his religious beliefs and the things he did, and the taking the knee of praying and stuff after whatever, all of those different things, I think it was a way to, like, you know what? Let's just it helped speed up the process of pushing him out, because that was the whole distraction thing, right? It becomes a distraction in essence. And I think he's a number one. I think he's a very, very competitive guy, right? And so forth and so on. But now let me go on to this piece. He goes in, he's out. He goes to play baseball. He does that in the minors or whatever it is. I'm not really hip on all the baseball, the AAA, the AA, and so forth and so forth. Now, Urban Meyer gets this job at Jacksonville, right? One of his first acquisitions behind Trevor Lawrence, who is the number one quarterback coming out of college, of course. And I want to put this up here because I think it leads perfectly into it. Jimmy Sheridan says, my opinion is by having the Tebow circus, he takes attention off the young quarterback, especially since he isn't playing QB, like when he played for the Jets. So do you think that's part of Urban Meyer? I'm going to go with you, J-Dub, on this. Do you think that was part of Urban Meyer's master plan in bringing Tim Tebow back?
So I mean, I think that's a great comment. I think it's a valid point too. It could be true. My opinion is that Urban Meyer was just helping a friend. To be honest with you, I think I read somewhere that Tebow was 3 games away from reaching some type of level of contract or something that he will earn for playing 3 more games in the NFL. I didn't confirm that, but I honestly believe this was just some type of nepotism type thing. Urban trying to help a friend. I just don't know if Tim Tebow is actually going to make the team. But if he does make the team, I don't know. I don't foresee him making an impact on this team. So it could be, to take the pressure off Trevor Lawrence. I think it's just more so Urban Meyer looking out for Tim Tebow, giving him another opportunity.
I got you. Go ahead, E.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of those points. I also think it has something to do with Urban being the new coach. It always helps to have your allies as players to help get everybody else on the same page of what you're speaking about. Sort of like a secondary assistant coach or something like that. And then the other part of it is, and I'm sure we all gonna bring this up too, for that area, that being Tebow's backyard, basically, for Jacksonville basically being South Georgia, it plays very well to getting excitement and spirit going for that team. It definitely plays into getting people to feel good about the season, as well as taking a little heat off of the quarterback. I agree with that as well. So it was a lot of things that factored into it. But overall, absolutely, the relationship he had with Urban Meyer played the huge role in it. And yeah, he's going to help get him a pension or something like that if he can play a certain amount of games and things like that. So we all wish we had that friend throw us a bone sometimes and bring us up. So I ain't mad at it.
I heard that. V12, real quick, go for it.
I agree with what the fellas are saying. You know what happens.
I'm sorry. No, your face be telling it, man. You be like, go ahead.
Yeah, no, because I agree with what the fellas are saying, but at the same time, it all goes back to, whether it's in corporate America, whether it's in government, wherever you want to go, it's not about sometimes how talented you are, not about your accolades, it's about who you know. And to everyone's point, to Essex's point and J Dog's point, we all know that at this particular point in time in Tebow's career, he's washed up. I saw a comment that said, let him play tight end. If it was ever that easy, Joe too, bring everybody in to play tight end. Heck, bring Shea back to play tight end. So to my point, it's not that easy. You know what I mean? And we can get into that because there's a lot into that of that's a privileged type of situation that Tebow was dealing with Urban Meyer. We call that privilege where we're from. And I don't like it because I know there are plenty of other people and players who are out the league, can't even get a shot at their current position, much less come into an organization and switch positions on a dime. That's unacceptable.
No, I agree with you. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to bring this up because I got a couple of deals in here. And we talked about him. You brought up the point about him being from Jacksonville. Could this also be a ploy for, because we know Jacksonville kind of been in the tank lately. They haven't been very good since Fred Taylor, probably. So with that being said, could this be a thing? Because everything is media now, right? Everything is self-promoting and marketing and your brand and so forth. Could this be a way? Because I don't care what nobody say. The minute he takes step on that, they put foot on that field, whether you're a Jacksonville fan or not, you're gonna watch that game.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
you want to watch that game.
Tebow mania.
Listen,
Tebow mania.
Listen, I can see that, but if you want to create hype, you want to put butts in the seat. I can name 2 people who would get guaranteed butts in the seat, and they play good positions, and they're in shape. That's Terrell Owens, a receiver, and Chad Ochocinco. Those guys are still playing. Those guys are still training. And if you want to create a buzz, bring those guys in who we know are pros, and Jacksonville will be lit up. You could have brought in AB. So my point
I agree.
Is, you don't have to go to Tebow to get butts in the seat and to get everybody riled up. You know what I mean?
But yes and no. Yes, those guys would definitely put butts in the seat, but Tebow is more polarizing.
Correct.
Tebow is more polarizing because Chad was the man. T.O. was the man.
T.O. I don't know about that.
I don't expect anything less. I want everybody. I'm gonna tell you, it's the beauty, just like Floyd Mayweather in his marketing. Floyd Mayweather is a genius at marketing because you're going to love him or you're going to hate him, but you're going to pay to watch him. You're going to pay to watch him win or you're going to pay to watch him lose, but you're going to pay to watch him. And that's the beautiful thing about that kind of marketing. The thing with Tebow is, now, I'm not saying it's going to last, that fandom is going to last the whole season, but at least it's going to spark something.
Yeah. And
it's going to spark something.
Yeah, and listen, as much as we love the actual sport itself and the game itself, got to understand what these organizations are, whether it's football, basketball, hockey. These are not sports companies. These are companies that sell the product of sports. Okay? So, yes, absolutely, man. Like, and you know, Tebow is going to sell. Like, they had him on ESPN. He had a job on ESPN waiting as soon as he walked off an NFL field because he's popular. He's also a little infamous. So absolutely all of that stuff plays into effect. What really make the team, J-Dub, yeah, they're going to find a spot for that boy on the team. He's going to be here the whole year.
Well, to Coach's point.
I put money on that.
Coach's answer to Vaughn, Coach's answer to V12 was correct. Yes and no. So, yes, those two guys coming in would probably, would bring fans to the seats, but those two guys would not have the same effect as Tebow coming into that building. They're not. It's not going to happen.
I kind of disagree, but hey.
And you have to remember, right? And you have to remember, you're technically in Tebow's backyard. You're right here in Jacksonville. They need something to cheer for.
Yeah.
Right. They need something to cheer for. Jacksonville is his backyard, literally. He's right there. A lot of those people have been watching him since he was a high schooler and right there in Florida, which is maybe an hour and some change away. You know what I mean? Like, bro, I'm telling you. Now, I'm not saying that's going to last forever, but you only need a spark to start a fire. You only need a spark. That's all you need is a spark to start a fire. And I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but what I'm just talking about, sometimes you need a jump start something, and that's all I want to say. Let me do this because I want to push for time, and I do want to open up the phone lines if I can. But I know you got to go in a little bit, though, brother. Let me ask you this because I thought this was very important as I was looking at a lot of these sports shows. I've been looking at Shannon Sharp and Skip. I've been looking at Skip A. I've been looking at a lot of guys, and I'm gonna tell you something that bothered me because some people brought up nepotism and so forth and all that, and I get it. But I always said this: favor is not fair. Favor is not fair. And the biggest problem I'm having from a lot of these guys who are the talking heads on the sports shows is, well, he got a chance because his head coach is this, that, and the other. How do the other players feel in the locker room that's been busting their butt to get these chances? Yada, 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 yada. Here's my part about the hypocritical aspect of this. What's the brother name that did Acho?
Yeah.
He played linebacker.
Yeah, I think it's Acho.
Yeah, I saw a segment with him. He said he was on the team with Tebow. That was the last time he played. He said, I haven't been on that team in 5 years, but I've been newscaster 5 years. What I'm saying is, if you take that same logic, you got people who have gone to school for broadcasting, for journalism, for all of these things, and you come off the field and a job is waiting for you because you played. Isn't that favor? What about those people that bust their behind for the art of journalism, for the art of sportscasting, and you have no formal training in it? I'm not saying you don't have the content and the knowledge base of the game because you played it, but I'm talking about the actual. You understand what I'm saying?
Listen.
So my question is, but I'm just talking about the hypocrisy between these same sportscasters who are former athletes with no formal training are the same ones criticizing Tim Tebow for a chance. What do you say, Jay? You got his face twisted. What you say?
That's a great point. The thing is, though, I think folks are directing their anger at the wrong person. Tebow didn't walk himself into the Jacksonville locker room. This was all Urban Meyer. So if you're gonna be mad at somebody, it has to be Urban Meyer. But to your point, yes, favor is not fair. Some people just they get that lucky stroke. Vaughn B12 mentioned it earlier. Sometimes it's about who you know, not what you know, and that is in a lot of aspects of life. And so it just so happens in this case it was football. Tebow is the beneficiary, and my thing is, you can be angry, but just beat him out. Beat him out in that position. I mean, if you cannot beat Tim Tebow for that tight end position, then what are we talking about? Now he's gonna keep that position according to the fellas here because of the nepotism, because of the unfair favor. But to your point, Coach, it is unfair, but it happens in all aspects of life, not just football and broadcasting.
Well, I'm a challenge. I'm a challenge coach on that, and you too, Jada. Because here's my thing: when we talk about NFL players and broadcasting, they're two separate things. They do two separate things. The players who are hired are hired for something totally separate than what Kenny Mayne or what the brother Scott, rest his soul, from ESPN. They're hired to do different things, right? Tom Jackson's hired to do something different than Boomer. Tony Romo is hired to do something different from McMichaels. You know what I mean? So there's two separate situations. But I get your point. I think where the players are upset, and yes, it's about who you know. Sometimes you can't get mad. Where the players are upset, and I stated this earlier, for him to go to do a total 180 and go to a totally different position, I think that's a key factor in what's really getting under people's skin. I have no problem if you say, hey, I'm bringing Tebow in to be a quarterback. But to and people said this, Shannon Sharp, like you mentioned, a lot of these guys said it's almost like you disrespecting the shield. Like this guy could come off the street and just become a tight end overnight. I don't think that, you know, the NFL, the players in the NFL, they don't see that as a positive thing, because guess what? This opens up the floodgates. Guess what? Now people are going to come in, and I guarantee you're going to have more people saying, "Hey, Tebow did it. Why can I switch my position? Why can I change my position?" And he did it 5 years after the fact. It ain't like he transitioned throughout the season and they put him there. This dude did it 5 years after the fact. What are we talking about here?
Let me jump in real quick, Coach. Vaughn, 2 words for you. To Coach's point, Emmitt Smith, one of the worst TV analysts, broadcasters I've ever seen on ESPN. How in the world did he get that job?
But he was bored. My point is with that, I'm not saying these guys don't get these, but they're two separate. They have names for these guys. They have color. I think they're called color analysts and broadcasters. They're two totally different positions, guys. So we can't let's not conflate what they do. So yeah, they're going to bring in Tony Romo because he's going to bring in the viewers, but he also played the game. You have to have that quote unquote, we call it subject matter expert in the government. We call it SME. So when you're playing football, they're called subject matter experts. And that's why Emmitt Smith was there. That's why Ray Lewis was there. That's why all those guys were there. So, you know, I think it's totally different. But I get your point, Coach. But I don't agree with that road. You know, with these guys being hypocritical.
Well, yeah, but the reason I said that, and I'm sorry, I know you want to say, but the only reason I said that is because it is the same. It is the same thing. And I'm gonna let you go ahead now because I'm gonna come up to another point that's happening right now. So go ahead, say your point, your piece.
Hey, I just want to say, you know, in any aspect of this world, relationships are going to play a huge impact, man. Coach, you know, I went through it last fall, man. I was up for a huge role on a huge show to change my life. I didn't get it, not because I didn't deserve it, but because the guy that got it had the relationship. So I can't be necessarily mad at him. I got to be mad at just the fact that I did not come up and cultivate that relationship. Coach, you know, it's like that with coaching. For you to get the type of opportunities that you want, it's got to be from a relationship. It doesn't have much to do with your talent and ability as a coach or me as an actor or anybody in almost any other aspect of the world. And the point that needs to be made is that folks got to realize that it's not just enough for you to play the game on the field. You got to play that game on life. You got to be able to pick up that phone sometimes when you don't necessarily want to and cultivate that relationship. You got to get yourself out there and put yourself in the best light. And that's what the lesson of that is. We all are going to experience that. Sometimes it's going to work in your favor. Sometimes it's not. But that's it. It is what it is.
I agree. And I'm going to say this piece. I don't want to go into a whole tangent about it, but I just want to make this comparison. Because what V12 was just talking about the players, and I totally get that. I totally understand that. But it's the same thing happens in coaching. You see guys coming off the street and they're getting these jobs, and this dude went up the ladder, i.e., prime example right now what's happening in the HBCUs, right? Eddie George is the head coach at Tennessee State, which is your alma mater. But what's his background? Right? I understand. But again, why are they doing it? Because of the marketing factor to bring, at least Deion was coaching from my understanding. Now they're talking about bringing in Marshall Faulk to come down to Southern. And the coach that was at Marshall Faulk, who actually beat Deion Sanders, who is now at Norfolk State, his whole thing was to the coaches who have put in the time, who have done the 15, 20, 30 years being away from their family, striving to become a head coach, be a coordinator, and all these good things. Stay at it, because favor is not fair. And so I just want to make that kind of comparison to say, but this is the way sport is happening today, right? We look at it in boxing. The boxers are now mad because the YouTubers are getting on the boxing thing, becoming the headliners, and got 2 total fights in their whole career. These dudes been fighting 10 years, black eyes, concussions, bloody noses, broken eyelids, and all kind of crap. And because this dude, YouTuber, has 10 million followers, he can fight Floyd Mayweather. So, but that is the changing of society today, and I think that's what we're starting to see.
Because it's not just about the sport. Like I said earlier, these organizations are not just about the sport. They're in the business of selling the sport. Selling being the key word, meaning getting you to purchase the pay-per-view, purchase the sports package, purchase your tickets, the PSL license, all of that. This is sales. So yes, Tebow selling jerseys or Jake Paul selling pay-per-view, they're going to get bumped to the line, because at the end of the day, it's a bottom line business. It's not just about the sport. Right. That comes secondary behind all of this other stuff.
Right. So let's go into this piece, man. I want to talk about this part. I'm sorry, I got that down. We led into this, right? And we talked about some of this, and I think I'll be remiss if I don't bring it up. Let's talk about the privilege piece. It's just what it is. Where's the privilege aspect in this? And I'll start with you, V12, because I see a lot of people in the comment section, they're talking about the Kaepernick versus the Tim Tebow and so forth and so on. So it's something we need to touch. Let's touch it. V12, talk to us in regards to the privilege aspect.
Right. That's the danger in this thing. And that's why laws, employment laws and discrimination laws and all other type of laws were put into place, because people were getting preferential treatment. They said it was based on friendship, but people looked at it different ways. And so, yes, that's one of the biggest elephants in the room, is that if that was somebody else that was as close to the head coach, Urban Meyer, would he bring in a Chris Leak, who may have played, 3 years in the league, 5 years in the league, to play a different position? And at the end of the day, people you want to call it favor, I can look at it from a privilege standpoint, because yes, we know that Tebow is an upstanding guy, and we know the connection he has to Urban Meyer. So privilege goes a long way. And that's the danger in this. Even in coaching, we know what we're saying in coaching. For you, coach, yeah, you're saying these people are doing this, but guess what? When you look at the bottom line, there are a lot of minorities, there are a lot of people, a lot of women who are getting left out of this. And then they say, well, it's not about the experience. So what is it about then? What is about the connection they have? Okay, I get that. But if you're going to do that, then open it up to everyone. And I think that's one of the arguments with some of the commentators. They're saying, hey, listen, I don't mind if you're going to give Tebow a shot, but when I recommend another guy who is out the league, he wants to get back in, and he happened to be a black man or Hispanic man or Asian man, give him the same shot that you're giving to Tebow. So I think that's the fine line that we have to really view. We're talking about this, and I know it's an interesting topic, but we have to kind of speak from a broader perspective, because that's why we have a lot of these laws in place today, because preferential treatment and prejudice and stuff like that.
All right, real quick, I want to say this. Q Lee, man, hey, you need to holler at me too, man. You ain't hollered at me. He says racism plays a part in this also. I'm gonna say this, and somebody else said it too. I don't think this is not a racism issue. When I say, I don't think it's racism. I think that's the wrong word. I think it's a privilege issue.
Yes, privilege.
Yeah, but what I'm gonna tell you what my difference between it is, and I'll take Kaepernick since we brought it up. And here's what the difference between the privilege is. You bring him in, and ownership doesn't, whether they like it or not, they haven't stopped it, because the owner can tell you as the head coach, hey, bro, that ain't happening. Right? They have not stopped this deal. But let's just say if Urban Meyer did, let's just bring up Kaepernick, for example, want to bring him in as a backup QB to maybe mentor Trevor Lawrence. Would and these all 50-50 questions. Would the top brass come in and say, nah, bro, that ain't happening? In my personal opinion, I do think that when it comes to Kaepernick, they'll be like, nah, that ain't happening. You understand? Mm-hmm. Because of the distraction. You see what I'm saying? Not necessarily winning the games, but the distraction. Tim Tebow gonna sell tickets. You see what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's all about dollars and cents. Let me give some love right quick, and I'm going to push this thing forward. Jay, I see you shaking your head, but let me get some love right quick. Chug more beer in the building. I don't have one. I always got to give him his love. Hello, Coach Hayes, V12, J-Dub, and O'Brien. Great show, guys. Smash the like button, everyone. Let's go, Canes. I love them Canes in the building. J-Dub, you were shaking your head. Why was that?
Is this mic on?
Yeah.
Testing 1, 2, 3, because this might be some explosive commentary right here. It might be a lot of folks mad at me, but I got 2 points to make. The first point is this. Coach, if you got a computer next to you, you can go on Google. Anybody watching right now, please go on Google. This is what I want to know. How many employees sue their employers, settle out of court with their employers, and then go back to work for that employer? How many people does that? Colin Kaepernick sued the NFL and received a settlement from the NFL. He's not going back. He's not playing. That's why he's not being hired at this time. Now, before then, he was being blackballed. But now, this man sued the NFL and he received a settlement. How many employees goes back and work for an employer that they have sued and settled with? That's number one. Number two, to the players calling out Kaepernick, my message to them is shut up. Be quiet, man. You have lost your opportunity. Don't get mad. Listen, they're blaming, NFL. Listen, NFL is bigger than NFL owners and all that. Listen, the time that we had to affect the owners, don't attack Tebow, attack the NFL owners. But the time that we had the chance we had to do that, the opportunity is gone. The way to affect the NFL and the NFL owners is to hit them in their pockets. And right when the Kaepernick situation was happening, guess what the players did? They took their behinds out on that field and they played. Now, they supported Cap. They raised their fist. They got on a knee on the sideline. But guess what? They weren't ready to put their money where their mouth was. Their livelihood and their money wasn't more important than Colin Kaepernick's cause. So guess what? They took their behind out on that field and gave all the power back to the NFL. If the top 100 players had sat their behinds down, it would have made a difference. And I believe Cap would be in the league right now. So because of those 2 points, the NFL players and anybody talking about Cap just need to be quiet. Shut up.
I love it. Yeah, and your mic was on.
Mic drop. Mic drop. Listen.
Go ahead.
I agree, man. I agree. I don't think Kaepernick applies in this situation to bring up because of those points that J-Dub made. I also don't think this was a racism issue. And I'm a person that, will call racism out. I hate racism. I call it out whenever I can. But this was about a relationship. This was about, and we see this in sports all the time. Not with this gap of being out of the league for so long, but you got a relationship with a coach or a decision maker, and they want you in that locker room for whatever reason. Like I said earlier, to me, it's not just about what he can or cannot do on the field, but it's what he can do in that locker room. And I think that played a large part into it, in addition to, like you said, like we've all said before, the dollars and cents of it, that name that he carries in Florida. I think that was this issue. The privilege part of it, okay, maybe Coach might be more friends with white men than he is black men, but we can all sit here and say you're looking at a panel full of black men that are friends. You know what I mean? So I'm favored because I'm Coach Hayes' friend, and V12 and J-Dub, we're all favored. We're talking to y'all here because we Coach Hayes' friend, and that's what I think this is at this point in time.
Well, again, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say this. I think there is a nexus between the Kaepernick situation and Tebow. And the only thing I will say, I hear your point, J-Dog. I think the opportunity was what was missing from Cap. I think that's where the players and some of the commentators were saying, hey, he was not given the opportunity. Holding to what J-Dub said about him suing, even if he said he was willing and ready, he was not given the opportunity to make any squad. And I think that's where there's a dilemma in some of the people saying, hey, bringing up Cap, because you could talk about privilege, but if someone lacks opportunity, not given opportunity, that's unfair. And so that's why I would say from a Kaepernick standpoint, he was not given an opportunity, and Tebow was given an opportunity plus one. He played, left, was kicked out, and he's got another opportunity at another position, and Cap wasn't given that chance. So I think that's where people are somewhat upset about.
So I want to respond to that comment there. I'm not saying that I'm right. What I'm saying is this. Cap was absolutely blackballed. But my thing is this. When we had an opportunity to make a real change, the players did not do what they needed to do. They did. I'm telling you, they may have supported Cap, but they didn't support Cap enough. They were not willing to put their money and their livelihoods on the lives to make the difference to bring Cap back into the league. So my thing is, now that blackball situation happened, and now that opportunity is now over after suing the NFL, now that the opportunity is over with, the time to talk about Cap is zilch. There's no, I mean, when you had the opportunity to do something, you did not do it. And now that he has sued the employer and can't come back, there's no real reason to bring it up Cap anymore in this situation.
I agree.
All right, real quick, my man Jeremy Sheridan, he says, I'm Coach Hayes' friend, and I'm as white as a picket fence. That's my man right there, Jimmy, man. I also want you all to know from watching the shows, I'll be your friends too. Always good points of views. Yeah, man. And this is what it is. The reason I like having these shows, and this is what Thursdays are about, because these are the dialogues that have to happen, right? And sometimes, the title is Tim Tebow, does he deserve a second chance? But you have to talk about a lot of these things, and everybody can do it respectfully. I say for the most part, a lot of people are respectful in there, and that's great. Let's get into this piece, because I'm going to say this piece before I move on. I do believe wholeheartedly this is not a race issue. What I think, because you can't be mad at Tebow, like J-Dub said. You can't even be mad at Urban Meyer. He's just, like you said, I think he was he was extending an olive branch to someone, and he took it. But where the conflict comes in is that the system maybe allowed this opportunity where the same system didn't allow the other opportunity. And I think that's what the conflict is when people say things. This really has nothing to do with Tim Tebow, Urban Meyer, or even maybe the Jacksonville Jaguars more than it is the system of it all. You know what I mean? So anyway, let me do this piece. A lot of people are talking about him. He goes in here, and again, it's supposed to be a tryout. What is your look at this V12? What is your thing? What role does Tim? Because they call it tight end. Everybody gotta have a position. What is his role if he makes this team? What does he do? I'm talking about so far as on the field and maybe even off the field. Let's answer both.
Correct. So I don't believe he's going to be the traditional tight end, Tony Gonzalez, Travis Kelce, Shay Sharp type of tight end. They're going to use him. He would definitely be, from my perspective, more of a gadget type player. They'll use him as some H-back. They may use him as a quasi Taysom Hill type situation. He may get some runs in there just to kind of alleviate some pressure off of Trevor Lawrence, especially on probably short situations. And from a talent perspective, we know. I mean, he's talented. He's fit. So, I mean, I think he could play that H-back position. They're going to probably list him as a tight end, but I think he'll be more of an H-back position on the field. And again, mentor Trevor, short passes type deal. If he runs, if he gets the chance to run routes from a blocking perspective, I don't really see him doing much from a blocking aspect. But for the most part, I think he makes the team. I mean, I don't think you bring this guy out and then have him try out and then cut him, because all that'd be, I guess, counterproductive, because all the things we're saying now, putting, a fanfare, putting money in the owner's pocket, putting fans in the seats, now that potentially goes down a drain. So if you're looking for some kind of gimmick, you got to stay with the gimmick of Tebow, signing, the hype, and him making the team. I mean, off the field, he's always been one of those type of guys, upstanding guy. Again, like I like Tebow, and I think he'll be more of an ambassador for the city. And just doing what he's been doing over the past few years, and and going from there.
All right, you make an interesting point, E. I know you got to run, so I'm gonna let you go ahead with your last comments.
Hey, point of clarification. So, was he officially signed? I know you used the word tryout a couple times. I thought he was officially signed.
Well, signing to it, he's supposed to do a tryout. He's supposed to be signing Monday for the tryout piece of it. You know what I mean? For the whole deal.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, yeah, man, it's going to be interesting to see. Like I say, we're all going to be, even if we're not watching and checking in with him, we're going to see it regardless. It's going to be talked about on all the shows and things like that. So great topic, man. Great time with you boys. Love you all. And y'all check me out at Actorman Essex on Instagram, Essex O'Brien on Facebook and Twitter. I appreciate y'all having me, man. Appreciate it.
All right, real quick, man. Make sure y'all check out the movie Painkiller. It's on all your streaming platforms: Hulu, Netflix, Tubi, Pluto, all that stuff, man.
Amazon Prime, all that good stuff, man. Check it out.
I love it, man. Hey, man, love you, bro. I'll holler at you, man.
All right, brother. All right, fellas.
All right, real quick before he pops off, hopefully my internet don't start tripping. Okay. It's easy to let people out, but not in. J-Dub, go ahead with your point of it about his role, maybe on and off the field.
To be to a point, it's not going to be a traditional tight end. He's not going to be able to block anybody. I think he's going to be called in specific packages. I'm thinking more so in the red zone. I know V12 mentioned Taysom Hill, and some of the commenters mentioned Taysom Hill. The difference between Taysom Hill and Tim Tebow is that Taysom Hill can actually throw the ball. So, I don't know if, Tebow may get an opportunity to throw. Because I guess if he can hit a pass, that's all they're going to need him to do is hit a pass. But yeah, red zone work, H-back, gimmick plays. You're going to have to kind of keep an eye on him, but a traditional tight end, I don't foresee that happening. Off the field, we've already talked about it. Just the leadership role, the mentoring role, intangibles that you really cannot put a real value on. I definitely think he's going to bring that to the locker room once the locker room kind of calms down for those members who are not with the signing right now. Hopefully, by the time the season rolls around, those players have bought into the fact that this man is here. And, and once that happens, I think, again, the locker room will be straight. And I think he'll be able to just do what he did, wherever he went, which is to be that positive leadership force in the locker room.
Got you. Now, I'm going to say this. This is my piece on it. I don't think he's there to play an actual physical role. I know Shannon Sharp says, well, coach, who listens to the 53rd man on the roster? Well, here's what it is. I really think, and I know Tim Tebow is not going into a coaching role, but I think he's there to help with the locker room from an Urban Meyer standpoint, which he knows Urban Meyer like the back of his hand. Urban Meyer knows him like the back of his hand. There are plenty of guys who are on rosters that we don't know who they are, and they haven't played. You understand? But this guy can take one of the 53 spots and help within that transition of implementing whatever it is Urban Meyer plans on implementing, if that makes sense what I'm saying. But he get out there and do a little something here or there. Sure he does. But I don't think that he's going to have a role, and I think that's what it is. It's kind of like anything else. People expectations are so high. You know, he may even get signed to the league minimum. I don't know. They're not going to get him a big deal, but I think it. And I know it's a different comparison, but it's almost the same role. What role does Haslam play for the Miami Heat?
He plays. Yeah, but he plays a position. But I mean, he's more there for.
That's the point, and I think I'm just saying. I think that's the role that Tim Tebow is going to play. Is the equivalent to like a Haslam role. Yeah, I'm on the team. I'm on here. Look, this, that, and the other. Man, Urban Meyer be tripping. This is how we got to do it. Man, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's going to work or not. You know what I mean? But who knows? And like I said, if you can get it and it works for cheap, well, you got it for cheap. If it doesn't work, well, get rid of them. I personally think that's the whole deal. I think it starts off with ticket sales, bringing the hype back, and then it also helps him come in and help with the transition of all that, if all that makes sense. I want to say this, Peter. I do want to get the thing in. I stopped looking at my comments because I didn't want to lose this comment. So Borakua Hunter, if I said that right, I said, Koheiz, I don't agree with your assessment. I'm not sure what you were talking about, but when I open the phone lines, please make sure you call in, man. I would love to hear what it is you don't agree with so we can talk about it. That's what the show is all about. All right. A couple of people says, look, Urban Meyer is not an idiot. He tried to bring in a racist S and C coach, strength and conditioning coach first. Now he's bringing in a guy that's splitting the team already. Meyer's move is going to F up the team. I mean, again, that is what it is, but it's all back to relationships, right? I mean, that's really what a lot of that goes down to. I'm going to open up the phone line, and then we're going to continue talking about that role. I'm going to put it up here right quick. We'll take a couple phone calls, and we'll go from there. Let me put this up here.
So, Coach, you don't believe that Tebow going to see the field at all?
No, he will. But what I'm saying, he's not going to have a significant role in the field. Like, he's not going to have I was just listening to Rex Ryan talking about bringing him in as a personal protector. And that was 6 years ago. You know what I mean? He may go out there and be the personal protector on punt that can take the fakes for the 4th and 1. He still got enough umph in him, legs still clean, and they're not worn out from a whole game. You know what I mean? He may be able to do the personal protect the jump pass. His presence out there alone will keep people from trying to block the punt or put the pressure on the punter because they know he does have the capability of doing those type of things. I think it's more of a very, very, very limited role for him, but his presence alone makes people say, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Wait a second. You put him out there on the goal line with the tight end, not the tight end, but like the power pass out the backfield. Everybody going to be so focused on him, they're going to miss the drag coming from the backside. Those type of things. Until that well runs dry, they're going to use it and squeeze that. They're going to squeeze that thing for as hard as they can to get what they can out of it. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't foresee him having getting a lot of significant playing time. Of course, he's not takes him here. I get what you're saying, but I think that to Kyle's point, to Coach's point, he can get down by the goal line and at least be a decoy. They may use him in some of those short type of situations, short yardage type of situations, and who knows, he may actually throw the ball from the quarterback position, depending on what the scheme of the play is. So, I mean, I think you'll see some action. It'll be limited, and especially with him switching positions, it's going to be hard to put in. He'll have his own more than likely Tebow package, in which he's coming in to do certain things that he does well. And one thing about Urban Meyer, you guys know, and you may not like Urban Meyer, but he is a heck of a coach. He was a heck of a college coach. And one thing that brother can do, he can coach and he can scheme. So be prepared, because if Tebow was there, he's going to use Tebow to get him some touchdowns or some scores and some first downs. So don't be surprised.
Yeah. Real quick, phone line is open. You see it scrolling down at the bottom. Number is 321-328-8235. You're more than welcome to call in. Let's talk about anything. I just simply ask that you be respectful, and we'll continue to talk. We plan on doing about an hour and 30, so we got about 20 minutes left in the show before we go here. But anyway, like I said, I just think that's his role, guys. Like I think he's going to be very limited. He's still, I guess, in good shape and so forth, or whatever the case may be, still in good shape and everything else. But I mean, it just is what it is. What it is. Real quick, caller, talk to us. Give us your name, where you're calling from.
This is Kevin, Dallas, Georgia. How you doing, Coach J, Mr. J Dub, and Mr. V12?
What's going on, man?
What's up, my brother? Like to see you. Like to hear you, man.
Well, same here, same here. Wow. As far as this particular issue, two F words. One is faith and one is folly. As far as on the faith side, you look at over, as Mr. J Dub stated earlier, I would even go as I would just say more so, Mr. J Dub, the past 20 years as far as college football, as far as no one has had as much of an impact as far as on the field as well as off the field. But then on the other hand, when it comes to as far as what Tim Tebow brings to the table, I've heard Coach Hayes state this ad nauseum. As far as when it comes to a coach will put a player in a situation in which he can thrive. So is the issue as far as the coaches that Tebow has had on the pro level, or do you want to put it all on Tebow? Because I know that you all spoke about Kaepernick. When Kaepernick was drafted by the 49ers, the offense wasn't geared around him. The offensive coordinator as well as Harbaugh saw something in Kaepernick and said, hey, we're going to put an offense to go around his skills. And then, hey, only one missed call in the Super Bowl will pretty much change, his history.
And that's true. That one call, imagine if he was a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Would that change everything? You know what I mean? Just think about it.
Yeah. Pardon me. Along those lines, gentlemen, that call was made. I don't think that I would hope between the four of us that there will be no doubt that all the things that, people had issues with him as far as off the field, that would not have gotten in the way of him getting a job. Mm-hmm. But then you use as far as that missed call in the Super Bowl as well as, a political stance, getting them blackballed.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you, Kevin, on that, man. I mean, like I say, it's a lot to it, man. I think it's a very interesting topic. Some people are saying that Tim Tebow is being selfish because I think Shannon, and I agree with a lot that Shannon Sharp says, but I think there are some things in this about Shannon Sharp. I think he's got some like disdain for Tebow's antics, I think that's maybe the right way to say it. Because Tebow just can't sit down somewhere, right? Where, okay, he tried it in the NFL, didn't work. Then he went to go play baseball. Then he went to go, now he's trying to come back here. But again, why are we upset? Why are we upset with the guy who's getting the opportunity, but we're not upset with the people that's giving him the opportunities? That's what I think the biggest issue is. You can't get mad because somebody keeps giving you a chance.
Yes and no. And as far as when it comes to the 8 parts of speech, Mr. J Dub as well as Coach A, the one that I hate, but unfortunately I have to use it at this time is that conjunction. But when it comes to every other athlete in the history of sports, I've never seen an athlete. The one thing that I think that most people that have as far as a issue, as far as with Tebow, you might as well call him Teflon Tebow. Because nothing off the field negative is stuck on him. Nothing on the field negative is stuck on him. And you look at that, plus, those that have an issue as far as faith, that's another thing. And then as far as that minority, and I do mean the minority, when it comes to the minority dealing with people, is actually what he do on the field. It's more so the 95 to 97% deals with his faith as well as nothing negative. He's Teflon. So.
Yeah. Go ahead, J-Dub. You want to respond?
No, I think that's a pretty good name, Teflon Tebow, man. I mean, I think that's a pretty, good description there. And listen, you mentioned Shannon Sharp. I saw one of the comments there. That Shannon Sharp has a disdain for a lot of things. I think Shannon Sharp also. His main thing was the privilege aspect of it. But as you mentioned, Coach, as I mentioned earlier in the show, we have to be directing our anger to the right person. and I don't believe our anger should be directed to Tebow. Again, it was the privilege, it was the nepotism. Urban Meyer, and I think Skip might have said this is Urban Meyer flexing his muscle and letting the people know that I'm the boss and I'm going to do what I want to do. And Urban Meyer needs to be careful because there's not a lot of college coaches that come into the NFL and succeed. I don't care who you are. I know Vitor said his scheming, but this is the NFL. It's a different ballgame. A lot of college coaches don't come here in the NFL and do well. But this is Urban, flexing his muscle. And the nepotism aspect. The anger should not be directed to Tebow. It should be directed to Urban Meyer, who made the decision, NFL ownership, and as you mentioned earlier, Coach, the system that allowed it.
Yeah. All right, Kevin, man, I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna catch you September 4th now. You know that, right?
I know. Hey, I'm looking forward to sitting down and breaking bread with you at the varsity. As always, nice to meet you, Mr. J.
Yes,
Coach Hayes, take care.
Yes, sir, Kevin. September 4th,
right,
baby.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
Bye now. All right, man. That's Kevin, man, out of Dallas, Georgia, man. He's an Alabama fan, but he also liked the Canes too. Real quick, but I know Vitor had to step away for a second. But that was the biggest thing. And so, and that's why I go back to my point, is that favor is not fair, right? So let's take Shannon Sharp, for example. He had no history. He had never done anything prior to until he got onto that show with Skip Bayless. Am I right? Maybe I'm wrong, J-Dub. You know better than me. Had he done any other broadcasting prior to him getting on that show?
Shannon Sharp is one of my all-time favorite Broncos, along with Steve Atwater. And I love Shannon to death. But the answer to that is no. I don't remember seeing Shannon doing any type of broadcasting work after he retired. So I don't know how he got.
That's not true, guys. That's not true, guys. Shannon Sharp was on NBC. Remember? Shannon Sharp was on NBC.
CBS.
CBS.
Oh,
yeah.
CBS.
He left there. Yeah, he left there, and then when Skip and got it whatever with First Take with Stephen A. Then he sat out for a while, and then Skip brought Shannon in. So Shannon was on. He was very sharp on CBS. Thank you, John Kennedy. Yes, I know he was on a major network. So Shannon did have some experience. Now before CBS, I don't know if he did. But again,
go ahead.
Remember again that those are why these that's why JB, James Brown, and Shannon Sharp, they do two totally different things. So they're hired for totally different reasons. But I see what you're saying. But it's hired for totally different
things. I was just trying to say that I know they're hired for different things, but what I'm saying is that even though they're hired at that for the color commentary, like you were saying, they weren't even doing it on a smaller platform. Maybe they started their own YouTube channel like this. And then, you know what? Somebody said, you know what? I really like what Shannon talking about. Let's give him a job at CBS. They were willing to put the money up. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I think that's the same thing with Tim Tebow. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it does. See, it's not like they said the talent scouts went and say, you know what, man, Coach Hayes got a YouTube channel, man, he does pretty good talking, yada, yada, yada. Let's see how he looks on national TV. The reason that happened is because Shannon Sharp is who he is. And that's all. So yeah, we're both talking the same thing. I just want to say that I don't like the fact that the people who got that same opportunity, in essence, even though they were brought in for different reasons, as you stated, I don't like the way they're going at him that hard for that particular reason. If they were busting his head because he ain't played for 6 years, if they ain't busting his head because, then that's different. But because you're saying, oh, he got all these opportunities, I think that's bad. We got a caller. Caller, talk to us. Give us your name. Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Coach Sheridan.
What's going on, Coach?
Hey, man. I wanted real quick on the Shannon Sharp thing. One thing I will say about that is, of course, he's coming from a different perspective, and they do that purposely to get people's to grab people's attention in that aspect of they're bringing two different sides to the story as well. I mean, they're also trying to, create attention to the show. You know what I mean? So they're purposely doing that stuff as well to get, have two different sides going at each other. So that would be my thing with that. I mean, I don't think all of that is just Shannon Sharp. It's maybe them also helping Shannon Sharpe say, hey, we want you to go at this angle for the show to make it a good show. So, I mean, we got to remember, too, is that is publicity, and they're trying to make millions of dollars off their show.
No, I totally agree. Like I said, it's all about money and stuff. And again, I'm just using these guys as an example. Like you can go to Ryan Clark, you can go to Booger McFarland. I mean, it's so many of these guys, which is great. You know what I mean? So there's nothing wrong with that. Kansas City Cartel. The phone line's open. They probably just flooded right now, but keep trying, Kansas City. But yeah, man. But no, Coach, you make a valid point, man. Anything you want to say to that, J-Dub?
No, he's right. I mean, he touched on. Listen, nothing in this country trumps green. The money is what it's going to all boil down to. And so I think he's absolutely right. I mean, they brought Shannon in to create that, that bump in the heads, that dialogue,
dynamic,
and it works. I mean, it works. It worked, for First Take for quite some time. It works. It's working now for Undisputed. And I mean, it works. It's all about the dollar. And this, that's what the Tebow signing was about as well.
That's it, Coach. I appreciate you calling in, man. I see Joe. You got something else to say?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna bring up one last point I posted on the Facebook thing there. Like Tebow, also he is still a pretty good athlete. I don't know what his aspect's gonna be on the team, but I mean, this guy is still he ain't no po little Timmy. He's a big Timmy. So my point to that is
true.
He might still make some plays and do some things because he is a winner. He's been a proven winner with what he does. And I also say this, with the leadership skills that he may bring to the team and the concept of what Urban's going to do, I also agree with that. You guys have brought that up during the show. So I think that is also a good point there.
Oh, man, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot, Coach. We'll definitely talk. I'm going to finish over that question you asked me earlier, too, man. But thanks a lot, man.
Right.
Thanks a lot, man.
All right, have a good night, guys.
Okay.
Coach.
Kansas City Cartel, make sure you call in, Kansas. I want to talk to you definitely, man. What's going on, J-Dub?
What the last call just mentioned, too, man, about leadership. Listen, that cannot be underappreciated or undervalued. Just a quick note, if you remember back in the Broncos Super Bowl 50 run back in 2015, even though the defense won that championship of Peyton Manning, it was Peyton Manning's coming back onto the field that Week 17 game against the Chargers that brought the spark to the team that I think propelled us in those two playoff games and then that Super Bowl. And just him, just his presence being there, it changed because it's Peyton Manning. He was that leader. So I think those intangibles cannot be understated.
Right. No, you're right. And I'm telling you, I think that's the biggest piece. That is the biggest piece to it. I think that Urban Meyer has an angle with him so far as doing certain things and certain particular things. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get this caller in. All right, here we go. Oh, they hung up. Maybe they didn't. Caller, talk to us. Give us your name. Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up? Just Kansas City Cartel.
Hello, I'm sorry. The phone broke up. What'd you say?
It's Kansas City Cartel.
What's up? What's up with you, man? What's going on? I see you said on there. You said a bad something. You said. What's up? Talk to me.
Oh no, I was saying the Shannon Sharpe. That wasn't a good example because networks are always looking at ex-athletes, bringing in ex-athletes all across all sports, and giving them an opportunity off the bat. But what I was going to say was a better example would have been things we're seeing currently with stuff like the transfer portals, and we see it in basketball with guys getting ready to retire, and we bring them back. They homeboy coach bring them back on the team. They had a little farewell run and all that stuff. And you also get it. It doesn't happen as much in the NFL, so I think it's probably a little bit more off-putting because Urban Meyer is not an established NFL coach. He's just coming in and he's pulling this big swagged out power move and say, I'm gonna bring my homeboy on at a certain capacity. Now we've seen it with coaches bringing their ex-players on as coaches, but not giving them spots on the rosters as much in the NFL. So I think that dynamic, that it being in the NFL, is not very often. It don't very often happen. To where you just give a guy a roster spot who hasn't been in football for so long. I think it's more so because it's Urban Meyer, number one, and he hasn't even coached a NFL game yet, and they gave him the keys to the franchise, and the fact that he pulling his power move because he can, I think that's what people have a problem with. I don't think it's a problem with just the idea of a guy bringing his homeboy in, all that. I think it's him flexing. I really do think it's more so him flexing, because a guy like Shannon Sharp, he speaks very highly of guys like Ozzie Davis and all those other guys that helped him out and brought him over to Baltimore. He speaks about guys like, because Shannon Sharp, if you listen to his story, he said he was on his way out. And the guy say, hey, man, we got a young guy. I'm not going to guarantee you a job, but I want to bring you in. And before you know it, as soon as he got there, he was playing. So he was given an opportunity. That's true. But what I think it more so is Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer got his own little controversy from college football, and Trevor Lawrence and Tim Tebow. These are guys that's, I won't put it on Trevor Lawrence, but Tim Tebow is a guy that are very, very polarizing for whatever reason. So I think it just creates news. And I think from an NFL perspective, it's only so many roster spots, and this is livelihood. And you bring a guy who ain't played in since my son, probably before my son was born, and you just bring him in and give him a spot. Now, if he gave him a spot as an assistant coach, that might be different. But if he taking a roster spot and saying, "Hey, man, come on in," I got you, then I think that's what the issue is. Him flexing like that.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. But I'm just spreading some here. But then what about the coaches who don't put in all them years? That's saying, dog, that was my spot. And this dude ain't never coached nothing. Now you know what I'm saying? Now he the
but
coach.
I think from the business, I got you, coach. I think it's different between coaches and players. And I'm gonna tell you why I think that. And you're a coach, so I could be wrong. But I think once you give a GM the keys to the castle, ain't no let me speak to your supervisor. Ain't no issue. Like the players got a union. So and they got a union for a reason. They the talent. So, it's a different level. Like you'll file grievances all day if a guy come off the streets and you could have been that last roster spot and it wasn't there. But coaching, it's business. It's more of a business type deal.
I got you. I just said it sparking the fire, but now you make sense, guys. Anybody on the panel want to respond to what Carol City Kane said?
Yeah, no, I think he's absolutely right, because we both know Urban Meyer and Tim Tebow, and we can both argue that Urban Meyer is somewhat polarizing as a coach too. Now, even though he's a heck of a coach, he's a heck of a college coach, he did get a bad rap, and some of the things, he'll throw some stones and say he don't know what's going on. So he's not, viewed as one of the most upstanding coaches by and large from a personal perspective, but from a coaching, how he go about doing his work and coaching athletes and coaching college, he was a great coach. We can't take it away from him. So I think, like he said, if for him to be this a rookie coach, bringing in someone such as Tebow, people are looking down on it. But at the end of the day, we've discussed this and we've said it numerous times. They have this history together. They're winners together, and he feels that it's necessary to bring him to his team, which is very young, and he's going to put him in a position to whether lead by example or be leader off the field or leader on the field. He's going to be in that locker room, and I guess his hope is that he contributes.
All right, J-Dub, before I let the caller go. Anything?
Oh no, I mean, listen, just to echo, I also believe the caller making a good point as well. Just to echo Vaughn. Hey, listen, it's what Tebow just experienced happens, and I'm gonna repeat myself. It happens in a lot of aspects of life. It's not just football. I'm siding with Coach on this one, not because it's his show, but listen, Emmitt Smith was one of the worst analysts I've ever seen on TV. Him and Booger McFarland. I don't know how these boys got that job. They got that job because they played football, not because they were good. And even though they did different things from James Brown, they took that position from somebody else just because they played the game. But they weren't really good at that at their job. So this thing happens from the warehouse job up to the NFL. It's just in this case right here, it just so happens to be Tebow was a beneficiary.
Hey, Coach, before you let me go, can I say something?
Sure, man. Go for it.
All right, real quick. I want everybody to understand it's just the beginning, man. We got this likeness and all this stuff going on in college. We got these transfers coming from Wazoo, coming back home, coming back to a more comfortable setting, taking roster spots. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna see a lot more of that in college football. Believe it or not, trust me.
No, definitely. I'm telling you, the game is changing, guys. Carl, Kelsey, I'm gonna let you ride, man. But appreciate you. Thank you so much, man.
All right,
King Cartel, be easy, man.
All right, I'm telling you guys, this thing is changing. Everybody's becoming their own mini business, right? The whole branding yourself and all of this stuff. I know it kind of changes things here a little bit, but I'm just saying how everybody, branding yourself wasn't a big thing 15 years ago. You know what I mean? Now, because of the social media platforms, you have your own mini television channel where you can brand yourself. And like you were saying about the likeness and all that kind of stuff, this thing is changing. And you seeing more athletes crossing over, like DK Metcalf. He just tried to go run. Now, I'm highly impressed with the dude. But he still got his doors blown off running what he ran, a 10.35? Bro, he ran a 10.35 at 230 pounds. What are you like, 6'4", 6'3" or something? Bro, that's highly impressive. But then look at the people in the track world. They are mad because he decided to do that. And he said, I didn't mean any disrespect. I just wanted to test my talents. You know what I'm saying? So everybody is fighting for that one extra spot. You see what I'm saying? And he got that. If I would have went to the track and said, hey, bro, I'm fast, boy. I'm telling you, boy, I ran a 10.5 in high school. Man, people would have laughed me out of here. DK got that opportunity because he's DK. That's what I'm saying. And that's what people have to realize is that when I say favor is not fair, there's not one person in the sound of my voice or on this panel that has not have gotten an opportunity because of something and decide to say, you know what, bro? You know what? I think J-Dub should really get an opportunity of V12 because he's more deserving. Nobody's going to ever do that, right? I just don't think that's going to happen. V12, you was up for a spot right now, and I say, you know what, V12, I really appreciate you giving me that chance. But that other applicant that was out there, I think he's more deserving than I am. You should give it to him.
That'll be noble of you. You will get favored at another place. You say favor ain't fair. You will get favored somewhere else.
I may. No, but what you're saying, but you are teasing. But what you're saying, but guess what? Wherever I go, that next place, somebody else was vying for that too. Right. And so when there are some people who think like that.
Right.
But it's a pyramid scheme. It never ends. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say that I'm gonna leave the phone open for 30 more seconds. If we don't get a call, I'll cut it off. We can round this thing up, man. Hey, Made in Dave, man. I see you. He said DK is a beast. I gave you a shout out Friday, man, for your boy. He turned on us, man. Isaiah Bond, man. He turned on us, man. But you got to hit me up. But anyway, anything you guys like to say? I'm gonna go ahead and cut the phone lines off.
No, I think it was definitely a great discussion. And like you say, man, this is a great platform to just share different views. And I agree with you. I don't necessarily feel that there was any ill intent from Urban Meyer's perspective. I agree with J Dub saying what everyone said. You can't blame not Tebow for accepting the position. I mean, you just can't do it, or accepting the tryout. I don't necessarily think it's about racism. That kind of connotation to it. I don't think it's more about opportunity and about who you know, and about more about privilege than it is anything else. And like I said this before, I've always liked Tebow, and we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. Do I think he should be in position? No, now I do not think that way, but it's where he is, and that's why I am with it.
J-Dub?
Yeah, I mean, I'm loving the comments in the show, man. It was a great show. Loving the comments. There were two that I want to just say. I mean, one said that Shannon Sharp always speaks his mind, and he does. On the football field, off the football field, on his IG page, Shannon Sharp speaks his mind. He does. And there was one guy was saying that Tebow had never done anything in the NFL. He didn't do much, but I mean, he did take a team that was 1-4 and brought that team into a division title and won a playoff game. I wouldn't say that's nothing. But again, I knew he wouldn't pan out as a quarterback, but I wouldn't say he did zilch in the NFL. I mean, again, a division win is hard to win a division in the NFL. It's hard to win a playoff game in the NFL. So he did do something. And I feel like when he gets the opportunity in the field, I don't know. Again, the opportunity is going to be marginal, but don't be surprised if this man scores a couple of touchdowns this season, man, and gets that crowd in All-Tel Stadium rocking. But listen, it was a great show, man. I definitely appreciate you having me on. I know I was fired up in that comment when I told people to shut up. My apologies if I offended anybody. But I was just fired up about that piece, man, because it's always a day late, dollar short, man. When we had the opportunity to get Cap in the league, we dropped the ball, man. And that's what I'm upset about, because we complaining about it now when we can't do nothing about it.
Hey, Kyle, shout out Haitian Ellen. You are exactly right, Haitian Ellen. J-Dub is fudging stuff like how they be fudging resumes and get these jobs as sportscasters. Tim Tebow, to your point, Haitian Ellen, he ain't do much at all. More, I would say in the larger scheme of things, he's done nothing. He's done nothing in 3 years. But I know that's your boy.
He did change. Hold on. He did change the rule of eye black. You can't have the words on your eye black.
Right. J-Dub is biased because he played for the Broncos, and after that he got booted out. He couldn't beat out Kyle Orton or Mark Sanchez. That's a problem for me. Good comment, Haitian Ellen. Shout out.
Hey, she laughing at you, man. She laughing at you. Yeah, but like I said, man, it's fun, man. Man, my bad. Man, Q. He said he was just calling, man. Lee said he just, hey, he the reason we got the phone number right here, man. This is my man right here. Why we got the phone number? And but anyway, let me see. Terry says, man, can't have a friend helping him out nowadays without hurting people's feelings. Yeah, man. And that's the thing. That's one thing about this show that I like. We're not here. We can have the tough conversations, man, and we all do it respectfully. Nobody gets hurt and whatever the case. When I say hurt, mean, insulted. You just have a conversation. You speak your mind. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's all about, man. I have to say this. I appreciate you guys in the chat for always being respectful. Yeah, you guys say things here and there, but it's always respectful. You do your point. And as I'm looking through the chat, I don't see a bunch of craziness. Yeah, you may disagree, but I don't see foolishness. And I just want to give a shout out to you guys for that, man. I appreciate it. H&L and V12, she say you joined the shady train too, bro.
Which one? And Haitian, you gotta put me on. Listen, I spoke the truth. What I do? Put me on.
I don't know, man. Well, here's my thing, man. We're gonna wrap this deal up. I said I want to do an hour and 30 hours. We always go over. That's what we do. But I just want to say, here's my last words when it comes to Tim Tebow. He's got an opportunity. I think there's a couple of different reasons why he got this opportunity. I think the main one is to spark what is happening right now. I think that was done to bring the Jacksonville Jaguars back into the conversation in the NFL. I think it is to create some hype around the Jacksonville Jaguars, who really have been obsolete for the past 10, 15 years, 10 years. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a money and marketing ploy. I think that Tim, here's one thing I know about marketing. If it's not shocking, right, people won't pay attention. Think about the things you do just on YouTube. You click on stuff because of the caption that's under it, right? It's shocking. You got to see what it is. That's the way the world is going today. That's how everything is done today. There's no more. Look at commercials that just regularly come on TV. It's something, boom, it's shocking. There's on YouTube, they call it clickbait. That's what's happening now, and that's just the way it's going. You know what I mean? And so, with all that being said, man, I'm excited just to see what's going to happen. I'll definitely be tuned in watching. I'll definitely be watching. So they got me with the clickbait. I'm clicking. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is, man. So with all that being said, I'm out of here. J-Dub, thank you for coming on. V12, coming on. I might need you Sunday, V12. What's up? You down?
Hey, listen, I'm always. Oh, well, let me know, because you know, hey, outside kind of open. And I got some baseball things I got going on, but let me know. I see what's going on, you know. Hey, I'm helping out. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna call myself a coach, but I'm helping out.
How you got that job? Privilege? I'm gonna mess with you.
I
didn't mess with you.
I'm gonna tell you what. If you want to call it reverse privilege, the team ain't very good and it needs some help. So I decided to step in. So that's how I got the job. Nobody wanted it, so that ain't nothing. That's how I got to help out. So yeah, so that's all good. Though. Shout out.
Hey, Coach V said outside is open. Let them know, man. Outside been open down here for us, man.
I already know.
Hey, ain't never closed. I think we closed like. Hey, Haitian Ella, I just jumped on the shady train too, didn't I? All right, man. We out of here. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We'll definitely get up. We'll chop it up, man. And with all that being said, Coach, thank you. Love you. Had a great time. Chuck Mobile, thank you for the donation, man. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, all the other stuff. Man, we out of here, man. We holler at you.